Hi, my name is Jane Zimmer, and this is my master's final project for classroom technology at Bowling Green State University. My project involved students entering the fifth grade classroom that were specifically performing below grade level. I used the fourth grade state test results to identify these students. And so my project is using the blended learning lessons that I created for my students and looking at whether that would improve their achievement from below grade level to on grade level, or at least bring up their student achievement. I used benchmarks assessment to show that the student achievement that were given through our district throughout the year. For my literature review, I looked at several different articles talking about the blended learning environment. Lots of different schools have used the blended learning environment and seen a lot of success, especially when it's used in a supplemental way. The supplemental instruction that was given to some of these students throughout the studies were during class and during downtime in class. It also had a couple articles that talked about low income families and how they're at a disadvantage just to begin with. And a lot of the school districts that have a lot of students that are from low income families are finding that the use of this blended learning environment is able to help them bridge some of those gaps. Another article that I looked at talked about online learning being more engaging and motivating for students. The article was specifically about students that were high risk and in need of behavior remediation. And so that helped them to be more engaged and to be more motivated when they used more of a blended learning format. Throughout my project, what I did was I created a blended learning environment on the platform of Schoology. My district uses Schoology pretty regularly in every K through 12 classroom. So this is a great opportunity for me to use this platform that the students are already familiar with, that I was already familiar with. So you see on this image is the one of my lessons. So I had 3 units: figurative language, literature, and informational text. And so this one specifically is the figurative language, and then I have clicked on lesson 1. And so within each lesson, there are the directions for students. So there's different games and videos and links that students interact with and use. Since it's a blended learning environment, there are some things that they're going to fill out and submit paper copies to me, but then there's also things that they'll submit online. So you can see down at the bottom, there's figurative language discussion, where students would discuss with other students in the classroom. Now, this specific blended learning treatment group was just 4 students out of the 8 that I chose to look at. So 4 students got the treatment, so they were completing the online lessons, so they were interacting with each other, and then there were 4 students that I didn't do anything different, so they were the control group. This next image shows all of the lessons that are in that figurative language folder. So you can see that I broke it up between simile and metaphor, idiom, connotation, denotation, tone and mood, and then the final project. Each lesson that I did within, or each category, so each unit, figurative language, informational text, and literature, the last lesson, whether it's lesson 5 or 4, was a final project for them to do and to complete. So just kind of culminating all of those things together. And then this last slide is an example of one of the final projects that they did. So there's an introduction here about what they need to do. Then this project specifically was a song or a rap, giving definitions of at least 3 figurative language terms, tone and mood, connotation. Then I have a rubric here for them. Then I also, since this is a blended learning environment and this is looking at not only getting them some additional curriculum and additional practice, but also that technology piece. And so how to do an audio recording and what that looks like and how to save it and how to send it. And then the last piece that they had was a peer evaluation for them to evaluate another student's work. My methodology included identifying the students using the 4th grade state test results, creating a blended learning on Schoology. So I created that blending learning environment. Then students participated in the lessons, the control group and the experimental group, as I said. Part of the methodology that I used as well is that I did identify the students that were below grade level, but then I used random selection to just put them into groups before I even did any kind of benchmark assessments. So then the benchmark assessments, the first one was able to give me kind of that baseline, that pre-test, and then the second one was that post-test. So they were benchmark assessments that were given through the district, and they covered all of the different Common Core state standards for English language arts. Like I said, I used them at the beginning of the year and the end of the year to really show achievement. I did not use the state test results because they don't take those until the very end, and then they don't come in until later. So for the purposes of this project, the benchmark assessments were the most practical for me to use. The results in conclusion, I did a t-test for both of the data from the benchmarks from the beginning into the end. So for the experimental group, I reject the null for the experimental group. So that showed that there was a significance between the beginning and the end. And then for the control group, I failed to reject the null, which showed that there was not a big significance between the beginning benchmark assessments and the end. So it showed me that there was a significant effect on these fifth grade students' achievement, that even though there were probably other factors contributing to could or could not have been their achievement, this supplemental instruction was really able to target the skills, some of the skills that they were missing, and helping them to become more proficient in the fifth grade skills that they seemed to lack at the beginning of the year, but now have a better handle on.